Have you ever been walking to downtown Los Angeles and encountered an entire community of homeless people? Have you ever taken a cruise into the city on a cold winter night and asked yourself, how can people survive outside in the cold like this? If so, then you're probably one of the many Americans wondering why there are so many people living on the streets. According to the National Alliance to End Homelessness from their homeless statistics, in California alone, there are about 130,000 people homeless on a given night. Many of these individuals are homeless because of their need for public assistance and because of the high housing cost. It is why I want to persuade you to urge our president to fight against the homeless problem. Because at some point in our lives, we have all encountered a homeless individual and asked ourselves, what can I do to get them out of this predicament? Sure, we may offer them a few dollars or perhaps even a meal or two, but ultimately it isn't enough to cause a life-changing impact. It is why I will prove to you that contributing factors to homelessness exist and argue for a solution that may help. One of the biggest contributions for homelessness is the need for public assistance. A lot of people rely on public assistance programs such as Medi-Cal, CalFresh, and SNAP, which is the new term used for food stamps. And so without these programs, a lot of people face homelessness. These programs are all essential since they act as a source of survival. That's right, survival. According to the National Coalition for the Homeless, from their Why Are People Homeless publication, a decline in funding for cash assistance programs has resulted in an increase in homelessness. What does this mean? Well, as it is, people are struggling to put food on the table, and taking these programs away would put them at risk for becoming homeless, which would contribute to the increase of homelessness, which isn't in any way what we want. Currently, President Trump has proposed to cut the SNAP program, which, as discussed, is the food stamps program. According to a 2018 article from Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, President Trump wants to cut the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program by more than $213 billion over the next 10 years. Well, what does this mean? Basically, everyone that is either unemployed, disabled, or coming from a low-income family, they will now be declined assistance. And so if people don't receive the help, then they can't afford to keep a roof over their head, nonetheless, food. Now, a solution for this problem would be for Trump to increase the funding towards public assistance. And in doing so, we would actually see a decrease in the homeless population rather than an increase. Another argument that is contributing to homelessness is that housing is too expensive. With the high cost of housing, it is impossible for people to afford homes. California is known to be expensive, especially when talking about housing. According to the National Coalition for the Homeless, from their Why Are People Homeless publication, the lack of affordable housing has contributed to the increase of homelessness. Now, why is that? Well, there is a higher demand for housing than there is available houses. According to the Bipartisan Policy Center, research has shown that exclusionary or restrictive land use regulations and other regulatory barriers lengthen project permitting, reduce the delay home construction, and raise housing prices. Basically, strict regulations for building set back the number of homes built since there is a high demand in housing with not enough homes to go around. And so the housing cost increases. In other words, we have way too little homes available and way too many people wanting to get homes. And so what ends up happening, the prices go up. Now, a solution for this problem would be for Trump to loosen the regulations in order to increase the supply of housing, thus reducing the cost of housing. In all, I have argued that the homeless population has dramatically increased due to the lack of public assistance and the high cost of housing. The solution for these problems is obvious. Many individuals suffering from homelessness need cheaper homes and more funding towards public assistance. Now, I know that solving the homeless problem is something that we wish was easier to combat. But by urging our president to take actions towards these factors, we can fight against the homeless situation. We can be the change we want to see, just as long as we push towards these solutions. Thank you. My name is Daisy Franco.